Yes, Disney! This is how you do it! This is how you remake one of your animated films. You don't suck the life out of it, you actually improve upon it. I'll explain myself after the jump. The Little Mermaid. So, The Little Mermaid is Disney's newest theatrical live-action remake of one of their animated classics. You remember, not too long ago, we had Peter Pan and Wendy on Disney+. And now for movie theaters, they've remade their 1989 classic, The Little Mermaid. People love this movie. They regard it as one of the best of the Disney Renaissance. But I personally did not grow up watching this one too much. Like, if at all. Which I hope you can understand, you know? I mean, it is more for little girls than little boys. So it kind of swam under my radar. A few years ago, though, I did watch that Little Mermaid live thing that aired on TV. Because Auli'i Cravalho was playing Ariel, so I watched it, and I remember being like, this is bad. I didn't think it was all that great, so my memories associated with the original film were not that good. But to prepare myself for this new version, I did watch the original film earlier today. And alright, I will say it's not as bad as I remember. Although, cards on the table, complete honesty here, there are still some things I just plain don't like about it. I'll be real with you. So going into this movie, I was not particularly hyped. Cause for the most part, the track record on the live action Disney remakes has not been good with me. I don't like a whole lot of them. Like I've said, there are some exceptions to the rule, but the facts were just not adding up with me. The original film is just not one of my favorite Disney movies, and Melissa McCarthy as Ursula, I'm usually not a huge fan of hers, so I don't know. I walked out of this movie with the biggest surprised smile on my face. Yeah, I actually thought it was pretty good. So the premise of The Little Mermaid is, Princess Ariel is a mermaid. She lives in an underwater kingdom ruled by her father, King Triton, who has a strict rule. No going to the surface, no interacting with humans, which will naturally pique her curiosity. She's obsessed with the humans, she wants to be part of their world, so she strikes a deal with Ursula the Sea Witch, and now she gets to go up there and live it up and flirt with Prince Eric, and the story goes on from there. Alright, now we have our movie. So alright, let's talk about Halle Bailey. Cause yeah, it's true, she is pretty freaking good. I'll get the obvious out of the way, her singing voice is phenomenal.
Wish I could be.
I thought she was a really good pick for the part. And I love the fact that she's not obsessed with the human world just because she's trying to fall in love with a boy like she was in the original film. That's actually one of the things I don't like about it. I mean,
Daddy, I love him!
Come on. No, in this version, she's not doing this for a boy or for true love. I mean, she's 16 years old for crying out loud. What's she really gonna know about true love? No, she wants to go up there because she is obsessed and curious about their world. That's her main motivation. That's just better, in my opinion. Which then there is Prince Eric, which in the original film was like a walking cliche. He's like, oh, I just haven't found the right girl yet. But man, when I do, I will know. In this version, he is kind of the same way. In fact, there isn't really much different about him than from his animated counterpart. Yeah, I still found him a bit cliche. And I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I even liked Melissa McCarthy as Ursula. And it's because in this movie, she's not just spitting out improvised insults all the time. No, I bought her as an angry villain who has a beef with King Triton. I found her threatening. She was really, like, imposing. She was a presence with her tentacles, which looked pretty good visually speaking. Like, I might even go so far as to say that this is one of my favorite roles that Melissa McCarthy has ever played, period. Granted, I haven't seen her in too much, but I just really want to give all sorts of props to her performance. She didn't Melissa McCarthy it, you know? Yeah, I just used her name as a verb. You know what I'm trying to say though, right? She wasn't Melissa McCarthy, she was Ursula. Nice. And the animal friends I thought were all great. Yeah, they do look like realistic animals. I have no problem with that. Daveed Diggs as Sebastian? Yeah, who better to voice him than Thomas Jefferson from the original cast of Hamilton? Perfect. Jacob Tremblay as Flounder was adorable. And even Awkwafina as Scuttle. Yeah, I like Scuttle too. Dude, Scuttle was like the best. She is that dim-witted bird from the original, but she made me laugh in this one. Again, surprisingly so. This is probably now my favorite role that she's played as well. Like, I gotta say, she was probably the funniest character in the movie. She had me squawking. The one character I was the most iffy about was Javier Bardem, chosen to play King Triton. And when I first saw him in the trailers, I was like, oh my god, what have they done to you? I didn't think he was bad in this role, but I do still think that there could have been a better casting choice. I mean, I can't come up with any off the top of my head, but just seeing Javier Bardem in this role, I was like, yeah, it's gonna take some getting used to, and I never really did. But let's get to what really pleasantly surprised me about this movie. I mean, it does recreate a lot of moments from the original film faithfully. Absolutely, all the classic moments, like when Ariel's on that that rock singing that reprise of Part of Your World, and the wave comes up. That's classic. They do that in this movie. And a lot of moments throughout, I was like, that's right from the original. Which, yeah, I do understand that a lot of these live-action Disney remakes have done that. But also with doing that, a lot of them have also sucked the fun out of it, it felt like. A lot of them just feel more boring than their animated originals. Like The Lion King comes to mind. Not so is the case with The Little Mermaid. No, the director, Rob Marshall, made sure that all the emotion from the original is present in this remake. All the fun is still here. None of it is sucked out. None of the side comedy relief characters are replaced by more boring versions of themselves. No, I felt the emotion and longing when Ariel was singing Part of Your World. I was having fun and tapping my foot when they were singing Under the Sea, which I've always loved that song. Under the sea, under the sea. This movie kept the fun, and I really appreciate that. And with that, I thought the visual effects were pretty good too. I mean, they're not the best I've ever seen. They're not like Infinity War and Endgame levels of CG. But, they weren't half bad. I love seeing all there was to see. This underwater world brought to CG live action. Yeah, it's gonna look really colorful and vibrant. That's what I wanted out of this. And it's what I got. Where this movie did falter a little bit for me, it wasn't much, but I will say the runtime. I think this is the longest live-action Disney remake we've gotten yet, and I could definitely tell because there were some parts that did drag on a little bit. And I know, the movie adds to the story. It gives more backstory to Prince Eric and King Triton, and I get it, but that's not my problem. The problem came from the fact that some of the scenes did feel just a little bit slow. Like there was a lull, and I was like, all right, it's like pausing. It's like the movie's pausing, but it's not. Can we pick up the pace just a little bit? That happened a few times throughout the movie. But really, that's my biggest complaint. Everything else about it, though, gotta say I liked it. Including, of course, the soundtrack. Yep, they bring back most of all the original songs from the original film. The one they don't bring back is the one sung by the French chef in the kitchen who's trying to get Sebastian. Other than that, all the songs are back, and they're accompanied by new songs with lyrics written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, which when I heard he was working on this movie, I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. Like, what would he add to The Little Mermaid? Then one of the new songs came up and I was like, oh, yeah, that's totally LMM. You just couldn't resist, could ya? It's like Mary Poppins Returns all over again. Not a bad thing though, because I like that movie too. And I like the new songs in this movie. Even the one that was totally written by Lin-Manuel Miranda. It's like signature LMM. I like that one too, it made me laugh. So in the end, The Little Mermaid, I gotta say, I was not expecting to like this movie pretty much at all. Like, I was expecting to be like, alright, it's fun for the kids, but if you're my age, why would you bother to go see it? And I walked out going, that was probably the best live-action Disney remake we've gotten yet. I really like all the characters, I really like all the actors' portrayal of said characters, except for maybe Bardem. I'm disappointed that it took this long for Disney to realize, hey, emotion, fun, that's what these live-action remakes were missing. Yeah. Hello? No duh. I felt all the emotion, I had fun with the movie. In my opinion, it is better than the original film, because it makes some story and motivation decisions that I just thought were better. I can't deny that. Just the pacing was a bit slow in some parts. If it had been a little more tightly packed, that would have been better. But despite that, I had an unexpectedly great time with this movie, and I love the soundtrack. For The Little Mermaid, I will say, go see this movie while it's in theaters. And yeah, how'd you like that thumbnail? You like my dingle hopper? Wait, that came out wrong. So, The Little Mermaid, have you seen it yet? What are your thoughts on it? And if you've also seen Peter Pan and Wendy, which one of these do you like better? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And of course, thank you for subscribing. Now, if you'll excuse me, the Lord of the Rings Gollum premieres tonight. Can't wait to start playing that. I pre-ordered the Precious Edition too. It's gonna be awesome. Peace!